afternoon, everybody. I'll try, in order not to waste too much time, to skip a bit. To speak. I'm Lorenzo Zamponi. I'm a PhD student. I represent here the campaign Io voglio restare. I want to stay here. And I'll try in this intervention to skip a bit the analysis, since I think there have been a lot of great intervention before mine. We spent 24 hours on the analysis of how we got here. So it's very focused and give a contribution on what has to be done. I think that 5 years ago everybody was talking about the Wall Street crisis, the finance crisis, the economy crisis. Well, now everybody is talking about the debt crisis, the welfare crisis, the state budget crisis. So there have been in these years a massive illusion, a magic trick. They simply had tried to hide what's behind this crisis, the dynamics of the financialization of the economy, the crisis of capitalism, behind the surface of the crisis of the state budgets. I think that our role, the movement's role, the struggle's role in this context is to try to show what's behind this magic trick, what's behind this massive illusion. I think that our specific role now is to try and build a link between the analysis that we are doing on the austerity and on why we are opposing austerity measures in the continent, and the social struggles based on the concrete and material topics that everybody of us is experiencing in our daily life. I think this is the role of social movements, because the ideological opposition to austerity measures exists in all Europe, but it's marginalized, limited, small, and if we don't find a way to link it with social struggle, with material struggle, with the daily life experience of every one of us, we won't succeed in gaining some popular consent and in making a difference, in making a change. My contribution is to propose one of the possible levels on which we could try and build this link between social struggles and the analysis of austerity measures, and it's the generational struggles. I think we in the last few years in all Europe, well, most of European countries, massive student movements have developed in the schools, in the universities, and some of them developed outside school and the university as movements of precarious workers, movement of young people demonstrating against the lack of future, against the attack on their social and civil rights, and the attack of their future. Our comrades of Juventud Futuro have been proposing here one of the most advanced experience in the continent on this topic, and I think that this is a possible terrain of struggle on which to build a common continent-wide struggle. Of course, both for content reason, because our generation has been treated in all Europe as guinea pigs. They have been experimenting on us, experimenting precarity, experimenting exploitation, and now they are like spreading these measures, this way of organizing work, study, democracy, and society on wider and wider parts of the society, but also for tactical reasons, because we know that in Italy and a lot of other countries in the continent, the student movement and generational struggle have been, in many occasions, an element of unity between different political areas, between different political groups, a place that exploiting the way that the fact that schools and universities are still a collective space shared by different people. The student movement have proved to be very efficient in being an element of unity, and I think that the generational struggle outside school and university can be used as an element of unity between different political perspectives, between different political strategy in the attempt to build a unitary European movement against austerity. I think that our role in this context is, in the first place, to try and build a common consciousness, to try and build in the social conflict a social subject of precarious workers, of young people mobilizing all over the country. I've mentioned the Spanish experience, but there are very similar experiences in Portugal, precarious flexibles, something quite similar in Greece, and in Italy we are trying. I think this is the time on which we should start and try to organize in a common struggle. Of course, nobody is self-sufficient. Nobody is able to represent and to organize and to mobilize so massive part of the population. Our contribution as a campaign is only one of the many contributions that we need. Nobody should consider itself as self-sufficient in this way, but I think that on the next few months this could be a useful terrain to build a unitary among all the different political groups and areas, movement of the Italian youth for change. And I think that this could be a contribution that we bring at the European level. We have these two great chances in the next couple of weeks, Blockupy in Frankfurt, the Alter Summit in Athens, and I think that this could be a contribution also in terms of the way we organize and the way we mobilize, because everybody knows that an old identity-based, group-based way of mobilizing is over. It doesn't work anymore. It's exclusive, and it doesn't answer to the need for direct democracy and direct participation that people are experiencing right now. I think that the failure of the Italian movements in the last couple of years can teach us something about that, and I think that we should try and experiment more and more public, open, legitimate spaces in which everybody can participate, apart from the different groups and political areas. Other times, the attempt to import in the countries external foreign frameworks has proven quite tricky in the Italian context. We had a big failure on 15 October 2011, but I think that in other occasions, to try and put our struggle in the international and European context can prove useful, also to learn from other experience. I think that that you are doing in these couple of days is a great first step toward this direction, to build a new mobilization of students, precarious workers, and in general a popular struggle in the next few months against austerity. I think we cannot stop here, we have to go on. Thanks.